Warm greetings. On behalf of W4W Foundation, a think tank instituted as Citizens Collective, we welcome you to another session of Wednesdays for Water. The conversation today is on everyday impact of hydroinformatics and empowering ordinary citizens through it. The objective of Wednesdays for Water is to engage in conversation with water experts, grassroots practitioners, policymakers, and youth to explore the complex intertwined issues associated with water and the possible solutions. The session has expanded since then to have more activities like Friday Waters with water arts, water talkies, thesis club, and a book reading club with Friday. And then we also have Monday Munching with Women for Water, where we acknowledge and appreciate the contribution of women in the water sector. Besides, we are also organizing water workshops, water walks and talks, seminars, special courses, and conference panels to continue the water conversation in various possible ways. At W4W, we believe that water conversations are crucial to move towards water conservation. Do visit our website, www.w4w.in, for more details. We have started actually from India. After completing 250 sessions, we are going outside India to get more insights about what's going on in other parts of the world. And humbly, we have started with the Commons series. And to do that, we are co-hosted by the International Association for the Study of Commons, which is called IASC, founded by the late Elinor and Vincent Ostrom workshops. And myself being an Elinor Ostrom scholar, I thought it's a very good way to give a tribute to both Elinor and Vincent. So also because I'm hosting and coordinating the Asia Network of the Commons. My name is Mansi Bal Bhargav, and I'm going to be the moderator and host for the session today from W4W, besides being the Asia IASC coordinator. Today's session, Everyday Impact of Hydroinformatics, which is about ordinary citizens more, as I understand from our guest speaker today, who is Dr. Khin Ni-Ni Thein from Myanmar Water Academy. And before I invite her to give her presentation, let me just first thank her for giving us time, because I have been after her for nearly 6 months now. And it's a very good day to have her today, and also as part of the Asia series. And before I invite her, I'm going to read out a brief biography of her and put the rest of the biography in the chat box. Professor Dr. Khin Ni-Ni Thein is a seasoned global water professional with 45 years of experience, specializing in inclusive water governance, integrated water resources management, and hydroinformatics. As the founder of the Myanmar Water Academy, she initiated the Water Think Tank and Water Mothers Initiative. In this capacity, she advises top government officials and boards, including IWPG, ERA, GWP, and the high-level experts and leaders and panels on water and disaster. As a G100 Eco-Civilization Wing Myanmar Country Chair and an IHA Civil Society Chamber member, she also co-hosts water events internationally and recently co-organized the Eco-Civilization Year of Water 2023, promoting the new water governance paradigm at the UN Water Conference in 2023. Her commitment to capacity building for sustainable development spans Africa, Asia, and Europe. And recently, she is also elected as Vice Chair of the Network of Asian River Basin Organizations for 2024-26. She has written extensively, and I'm not going to read her full bio, as I mentioned, because we want to give her as much time as possible. But she's guided by Buddhist philosophy, and her work in the water sector promotes water and peace. So with these words, may I invite Nini, and as I'm going to call her Nini only. And thank you so much, Nini, for giving us time and also agreeing to really enlighten us with something very interesting as hydroinformatics. Over to you, and thanks a lot again.
Thank you, Dr. Mansi. Thank you for inviting me to get onto the stage and talking about the hydroinformatics. And I thank to Wednesdays for Water also. And yes, we have been talking to make this kind of presentation since January 2024. But I could never schedule myself to come back to you. My apology. But if you see my activities up until now, I hope you will forgive me for delaying that presentation. But you know, I am very very keen because I know what Women's Wednesdays for Water means and what does also mean to women. You have done a great job, and I am very happy and humble to put another grain of salt or grain of sand to your good building. May I share the PowerPoint? Okay.
Yes, thank you.
Can
Yeah.
you see?
Yes,
Let
we
me
see
see.
maybe the first
Yeah,
slide.
yeah. But I'm trying to click and to get it to the first page.
Hmm.
Oh, okay. Yeah, we are back again.
Yeah.
Let me go back. Okay, share again. My computer is always like that.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Yes, it's there.
Now
Visible.
it's okay. Yeah. Because you see, I use a lot of AI on my computer. So
Okay.
sometimes he thinks or she thinks what I want to do, and it always jump on my command. So
Thank you.
today, title is the presentation title is Everyday Impact of Hydroinformatics, Empowering Ordinary Citizens. Why I choose this title is that hydroinformatics seems to be the very difficult subject, which is on the cloud and which is never be with the people. So that was the misperception. So I really want to clarify this is not so. And hydroinformatics is for everyday ordinary people life and to help them to live the easier life, better life, more peaceful, more secure, and more productive life. So let's see from the beginning what we know from. We know that we all know that water is life. And we all know that we need food, and we produce our food from water. And we also get our food from the water, aquatic life. And then we need energy. We also produce energy from water. And also we need to be healthy, and our nature has to be healthy. Our environment has to be healthy. Our cities and countries also have to be healthy. That water is the major part of our health and well-being. The same. And environment, we get a lot of food, shelter, and everything a human needs from the environment with the forest and all these we call it the physical environment. Then for the mental environment, we need peace. So when we share all these water resources, we need to share peacefully. And also human being, when we want to be successful and healthy and have the very good growth and economic development, but we cannot compete to each other like rivals or competitors, but we need to share it. To share the prosperity means building the peace. So that is why water is life and water is everything for us. And therefore, the first thing I want to state it to open this presentation is water is everybody's business, everyone's business. Then hydroinformatics come in as the helper of it, promoter of it, supporter of it. So let's see what hydroinformatics is. It is a discipline that integrates different fields such as hydraulics, hydrology, and environmental engineering to provide support for decision-making in water management. as I have explained, even though we all want to get what was written on the previous slide, we should not fight. We should stay in harmony, solidarity, and in peace, and sharing with goodwill. Who is going to do it? And not one, not top down. We all have to do it, and hydroinformatics will help us with necessary tools. So it encompasses modeling and decision support, as well as the social dimension of water cycle management. The citation is already down there. I will not read it. But that hydroinformatics as a subject was created by Professor Dr. Michael B. Abbott in Delft in 1991. You see his book, which was published in 1991. You can also get it from Amazon, I think. And over there, at that time of 1991, the book is named Hydroinformatics, Information Technology, and Aquatic Environment. Very succinct and simple, and also short to the point. If we go with that flow to think about what do we study when we study hydroinformatics, you will see on this slide, the blue cycle is water and the red cycle, information cycle. So we all know that the sun comes in the morning and then we get heat from it. Then we also get some precipitation, rainfall. Rainfall in the monsoon. Now we are having rainfall as I speak. Then that rain fall on the ground and it runs off and going to the river, creeks, and so on. And also some infiltrate into the ground, then form the aquifers, groundwater. The storage is in lake, ocean, sea, groundwater aquifers. Then that has survived our forests and biodiversity. And then when we have evaporation, transpiration, and condensation, we have this process going on in that physical nature. Then we have cloud formation. The vapor goes all the way up until that one form the rain cloud, then the precipitation. So that is called water cycle. But that water cycle has been disrupted by the human activities, and we have climate change. Putting this apart, we go to the information cycle. So all these processes, we need data. So we do the data acquisition and data processing and storage. Then we have data analysis and modeling. And we have plenty of different models, which I can explain in the later slides. Then what we do by these data is we build the decision support system and applications. But once it is built by experts, we need to capacitate the users and decision makers and the grassroots alike, because the decision is not made by one person. So everybody who will be involved in the decision, we do the capacity building and training. Then we can go to the communication and integration. Once everybody is on the same page, then we go this information cycle. So this is the work of hydroinformatics. But when Professor Abbott wrote it in 1991, he said it is the socio-technology. But he really, I think is with a little bit of sorrowfulness, in 2002, in his book, he wrote, This has frequently been described as a book of which only the first part, the technical part, is read, while the second part, the social, environmental, religious part, is generally ignored. So he lamented in 2002, and you will hear the good news at the end of this presentation, slide number 16. So this was compiled by his wife, Professor Abbott, passed away, and the book was issued on February 2021. So I have a copy of it. With that notion, with that, remark, all the hydroinformatic community feel obliged to do more in the second part. And good news is hydroinformatics as an interdisciplinary domain that blurs boundaries between water science, data science, and computer science is constantly evolving. So we all put more emphasis on the second part, and evolving and reinventing itself. At the heart of this evolution lies a continuous process of critical self-appraisal of the discipline's past, present, and potential for further evolution. That creates a positive feedback loop between legacy, reality, and aspirations. So it is a very happy thing. Now, going back to ordinary citizens, okay. So what is in it for us if an ordinary citizen asks? I have chosen only 3. The first is to do the very smart city, like, water tunnel, underwater tunnel between Denmark and Sweden. That is the entrance of that tunnel on the photo. We can do such things. And in Netherlands, storm surge barriers. The first one, and then now even the second one, even better and more suitable for less energy using. The second application is hydroinformatics as a base for hydro resources management. And that is the beautiful management, managed for all, by all. But of course, there are possibilities, but not without challenges. So if we go to the impact of hydroinformatics, we can see the list on the left-hand side of the slide. And if we go to the urban poor, why I focus on urban poor, when we compare the rural poor and urban poor are poorer. So let's look at the second left-hand side, flood prediction and management. That can be done by hydroinformatics. If someone do without, it still can be done, but the quality will speak for itself. Water quality monitoring, efficient irrigation systems, urban water management, disaster response, climate change adaptation, hydropower optimization, wastewater treatment, groundwater management, public awareness, and education. So hydroinformatics plays a crucial role in managing and optimizing water resources, ensuring safety, efficiency, and sustainability in everyday life. If we zoom into the urban poor, what we can help them is by giving them affordable water supply, access to clean water, flood risk reduction, wastewater management, community engagement, and empowering women in water management. Above and overall, when we say decision support system is not decided by one or few, but by all the stakeholders, one may want to ask, how do we do it? Yes, we do it with the web-based decision support system. That enables the communication. just like we are doing. The host is in India, and I'm talking from Yangon, and our audience from Portugal, Lisbon, Australia, and elsewhere. I do not see other people, and Myanmar, of course, and also one more from India. So it provides access to schedules from any web accessible device. You don't even need to own a computer. You can do it with the mobile technology. Nowadays, almost 80% of our population have mobile technology or own the mobile. Additionally, these systems support information management, coordination, distribution, storage, and access of project information and data in the work process or project process or program process. So when we really talk about the ordinary citizens, food is important, but the health is more important. What makes them sick is one of the reasons is shown in the picture. The damaged sanitation discharges into the community and freshwater ecosystems. Exposure in drinking water, irrigation, and recreation water. Larger, more widespread, and more deadly outbreaks of cholera and dengue globally. So, and of course, in the lakes, eutrophication and other toxic pollution. So that is visible, but there are many more others. For the time's sake, I will not elaborate. Then what we can do as an ordinary citizen? Yes, we start with the water stewardship. Here, I make the reference of a company that sells the berries. You see, the berries company name is Driscoll's. Why? Why don't I refer to UN or any other government or World Water Council? Because nowadays we desperately need the conscious-led private sector. And I want to prove that private sector people also have consciousness and they want to do that responsible business. And this is one of them. Here in the picture, our approach to water stewardship, they said, regional approaches and investment. You see, the investment from ordinary citizen and the government is not enough. We need the private sector investment. Then the third one is collaborate. And the last one is risk-based. So you see, this is the way they tackle to conserve the water resources clean. Why? If they conserve the water resources clean, their product will be more clean and better quality for better health for the people. So they also do and the bottom picture is doing the groundwater recharge. So I will not dwell on it, not to deplete the groundwater and aquifers. We need to do the recharge, and this company is doing it. So as a normal citizen, individual, what we can do is the 5 things: water conservation, reducing water usage, rainwater harvesting. Second is pollution prevention, proper disposal of waste, both solid and liquid. Participate in clean-up drives. And number 3 is community engagement and education, awareness campaigns, workshops, and trainings. Number 4 is advocacy and policy support, support water-friendly policies and join or form the local water groups. It is Very important. Number 5 is water quality monitoring, citizen science projects. In Myanmar, we started our citizen science projects. And of course, if something is wrong, what the mothers always say, we report the issues. Yes, report the issues. So then where are we aiming to? Of course, SDG number 1, reduce the poverty. And number 2, zero hunger. So in order to do that, we also need to increase the prosperity. And there we also discuss, is prosperity means peace, or is prosperity means economic growth? No, no, no. So in their definition, the UN discussions and side events, the prosperity is more than finances, success, or thriving. It is about peace, health, mutual support, and respect for all people. And prosperity is far more than wealth. It is when all people have the opportunity and freedom to thrive. Prosperity is underpinned by the inclusive society with a strong social contract that protects the fundamental liberties and security of every individual. And hydroinformatics support that with appropriate tools. At the right of the slide, you see the book. It is a book writing about the strategy, the global strategy for 2022 to 2027 by the Women in Water Diplomacy, Nile and Beyond Global Strategy. Okay, this is a book, we read it, and we learn what they aim to. Then we see what hydroinformatics can do to help their strategy implemented correctly and achieve what they deserve. Here is the example on the left. I will read only the blue one. To contribute to elevating dialogue, knowledge, and experience by knowledge sharing on the themes of water diplomacy, gender and water, peace and security as part of basin-wide, regional, and global dialogue processes. Dear Dr. Mansi, it is what we are doing with your initiative, isn't it? So thank for that. And then with the eco-civilization, we have even go one step further and propose the new water management paradigm. Thanks to the Professor Alan Hall, he wrote this article in 2005, putting the 5 water resources management paradigms from 1850 to 2000 and beyond. In 2000, the water management professionals include the politics and institutional arrangements. Now, eco-civilization, community, and myself, of course, propose a little bit more, a new water management or a new water governance paradigm to revive human greatness. Our quality, especially the mental quality, has been deteriorated, and the nature is also. So in order to revive the human greatness and nature together, we need to create a new water resources paradigm, which has 3 ply. The first ply is sociotechnology, the wonderful tools of hydroinformatics. Number 2 is systems science, or some people say systems thinking. And the third is the spiritual transformation. But don't confuse with the religious propaganda. No, 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 no. It is the moral and ethical sense of great human being. And it is the leadership principles of putting others before us. So when we can create that kind of new paradigm, we expect that our multi-layer co-creation will really create a sustainable development. One cannot do it alone, and also few cannot do it. So without further dwelling, we are saying that this triangle or a pyramid, you can see the billion bottom and non-governmental organizations, CBO, CSO, and academia and research institution. That's where we belong to, and the national government at the tip top and colored red. So if all these segments do not work together in synchronize, we cannot achieve the sustainable development, and we cannot achieve these 17 goals by 2030. Conclusion, we have to rethink about, okay, listening to it, and for me is I'm not even telling, I'm thinking aloud, what really is hydroinformatics? If I have to use only one word, it is a change. Change in the sense that it begins with understanding. When the understanding is reached, the action begins. I'm talking about an individual. So, of course, when she or he wants to do the action, needed science, technology, and networks are shared, from top-down decision-making to inclusive decision-making. Collective decision-making tools are readily available. Decision Support System, DSS, web-based participatory decision support system. Even in Myanmar, we have developed with the help of the World Bank. Collective knowledge, big data, citizen science, and thriving community. So you see, first two, big data and citizen science are technology, but thriving communities are mental faculty that needs the spiritual transformation. And also not to limit this one, okay, you don't come, but you come, like that. Therefore, our UN motto is leaving no one behind. Therefore, change from knowledge society to understanding society is a must if we were to survive. Otherwise, nature will die, we will die, and we will be the second dinosaurs. These are the references, and to pay respect to my alma mater, IHE, as I explained, in 2002, our teacher, Professor Abbott, lamented that, look, nobody generally ignored the second part. No. In 2021 plus, IHE has a new department, Hydroinformatics and Socio-Technical Innovation Department. Here is the link. And thanks to them, now we can tell our teacher, who is the professional further to many, look, we have done it, what you want to see. Okay, so for the technical part, I will click to this list. Can you see it, or you don't see it? I have to reshare again. And hydroinformatics tools, okay? Modeling and simulation tools, these are really too technical, but I think we need to bear the decision support systems, remote sensing, monitoring, and widely used hydraulic models. I don't mention the old ones. And from 2000 to present, okay? And morphological models and so on. There are 8 pages, okay? Mic 21C, ModFlow, and application of MicShe, and then AI applications. Artificial intelligence is the talk of the town. How do we do it? Yes, we apply in the hydroinformatics, and you will see its usefulness. Of course, still there are also things to take care of. So experts are taking care of. These are the examples of AI tools in hydroinformatics and the case studies. So if you have time, please go through it, and thank you.
Thank you so much, Nini. Thanks a lot for the wonderful insight. And importantly, when you showed the last two, last Word document, it makes it very clear also how good science or good data can be also simplified and put together in a very layperson language, which is we call as citizen science. Your talk today also reminded me of my own mentor, Elinor Ostrom, where she used to talk about this whole complex language which different disciplines use, and that we need a comprehensive, very simple common language which everybody can speak and understand. And in your presentation, it came out very clear how a science can be transmitted to the common citizens in a very simple way. So first of all, thank you for this wonderful, insightful presentation. Then coming to some of the things which you also mentioned, I'm again going to refer to Elinor Ostrom's work and the work which is done at TU Delft, because you are also from IHE Delft. And I remember TU Delft during my PhD work was also developing this social, technical, ecological systems, which is basically coming out of the social ecological system, which again was developed by Ellen Rostrom. I'm talking about her more because we are also doing IASC series, so it's good to pay tribute to her as well. And at TU Delft, they have also developed this as a hydroinformatic system. And I'm completely in alignment with what you were talking about, because I know IHE and TU Delft work together very closely on all these aspects. And they are kind of technical institutes in all respects and master it, I think, for all of us in a very nice way. So thank you for that. And then coming to your own presentation, I'm really, I will say, impressed by the way you were talking about how hydroinformatics is available in both scales of operation. And we need not get intimidated. Personally, I'm talking about as a layperson. And I play as a layperson in these platforms at Wednesdays for Water, because we are trying to bring the science into the society. How beautifully you talk about how macro projects also require hydroinformatics, but at the same time, hydroinformatics is in everyday life in our water management, and how from individual to institutional, we are engaged with it, whether we do it intentionally or whether we are just implicitly part of it, So there's no way out of it at this moment. But you also touched through your last Word document where you talk about AI. And I'm sure you are also dwelling deep into AI for good, because the fundamental of all this, when you talked about peace, is really bringing everything together. But after all, why are we doing it? For two major reasons, as I understand, for our own survival. We don't have to bother about planet. We have to first bother about our extinction. But at the same time, talking about peace and prosperity, and looking at prosperity beyond wealth. Looking at peace beyond what we talk about just handshaking. No. We have to go beyond. And you also really laid out this fifth paradigm, where you talk about the politics, which is an important, layer, which has come out as a very strong situation as of today, where politics and institutions play a very important role. But it was also good to see where you have added from your group's work as a future paradigm, and you talk about socio-technology and system science, and importantly, adding the spiritual component with the leadership component. And I think this is where the eco-civilization and your work and the whole fraternity comes into being. So I summarized your presentation in a very nutshell so that we can have good discussion here. At this point in time, I'm going to request all the participants who are present here, and also I can watch YouTube from here. If you have any questions or comments, please type it in the chat box and we can take it up. And to warm you up, I'm going to start with few questions to you, Nini, with your due permission. and then we can take it from the participants as we mentioned. As you know, at Wednesdays for Water, Friday Waters, these are all also hydroinformatics in some way or the other, bringing the hard science, decoding it through experts like you, and making it simple for everyday citizen to understand, where I play a representative of the everyday citizen. So I'm going to ask you a simple question, as you had laid out how citizen science can be really looked at and how individuals can look at their importance here. And you know, disasters are serious problem nowadays, and we have good tools for disasters. And disasters are both man-made and natural disasters as well. And we see that natural disasters, hydroinformatics is much more advanced today. You know, like we have disaster alarm system, we have relief mechanism in place. But when I look at human constructed disasters, which we also have right now in our northeast region, Myanmar is also going through it. Can you enlighten us that what kind of information system can we really look for, especially because in all kinds of disaster, water becomes a very critical issue? And I'm asking this question from my ongoing project right this moment, where we're talking about water anxiety for women during disasters and displacement. So are we thinking in that kind of scholarship, that human constructed disasters like war, displacement, you know, and water becomes a serious issue? Women are more affected, children are more affected. What kind of tools are used nowadays in the world?
Yeah, the first thing is early warning system,
Mm,
because before the disaster comes, we
mm,
need the early warning. So technologically,
mm.
the early warning does not really early, like a month ahead or a week ahead, you know, so
Yeah.
days ahead. So then we need to prepare these villages, or, you know, the city dwellers or women and children, how to prepare themselves. That is very important. And in Japan,
Yes.
that kind of capacity building is very,
Mm,
very active. They
mm,
started at the primary schools because
mm.
their country is prone to earthquake,
Yes.
you
Yes.
know. So the children are drilled even at the preschool, pre-kindergarten, so let alone the normal formal school. So that
Mm,
is very important, the early warning system. And once we get the warning, how do we prepare to face that? Number one goal is not to get the casualties. And
mm.
number
Yes.
two goal is not to get the loss and damage, or reduce loss and damage. So therefore, there are two things. One is the societal capacity building, and the other is the accurate early warning system with longer time in advance. So that is one. The second is, whatever we do, the cyclone will come and the heavy rain will come. So assume that it damages, okay? Then how to build back better. So making build back better, hydroinformatics also play a role. What kind of shelters we want to build before the disaster, during the disaster, and after the disaster. Then the third issue is humanitarian help. Once there is a disaster, water-related disaster,
Mm,
the international community, and also inside the country, the rich to the poor, or the one who are not in the region to the damaged region,
mm,
they help. But that kind of help has to go really swift, very fast, very fast. So the efficiency counts. And number two is we have to be very careful that it goes to the intended people right away, quick. So that kind of things are also um, able to help by hydroinformatics. You remember data acquisition?
Yes.
We can acquire the social data, weather data, and the technical data, as well as the population data and topography data. So as soon as we gather quickly, then we can help those in need. The third thing is the policy. Now the help, there is a expert and leaders panel for water-related disasters. That group directly advised the UN Secretary General. 3 years back, we have elaborated the issue of that humanitarian aid do not go faster and do not go to the right place with the efficiency and with the volume. So the help have made a policy recommendation, that is peace before, during, and after the water-related disasters. For example, in tsunami time, I was in Asian Institute of Technology, and I worked as a vice president of the institute. So when my country is having tsunami, my president, thanks to him, said that, okay, we can go the early assessment team to Myanmar, and we did. The tsunami hit in the first week of May. We were there on 8th of May. Then Thai government, again, thanks to the Thai government, they also supported us. Then the hydroinformatics come in the way that one of the GIS and IT department, ICT department, they use the elephants and then the hydroinformatics technology, and they use the satellite connection for internet. And we gather the data from the back of the elephant, and that data comes back to AIT.
Wow.
Of course, loss and damages. You
Yes.
know why? The early warning system at that time was not really efficient. So we lost lots and lots of lives. But learned from the lesson, after post-Nagis, whatever the water-related disasters came, we have reduced the number of casualties. But I'm not saying we are okay now. No, far from it. But what I'm saying is we have reduced the damage and loss gradually, and we should continuously thriving.
Wonderful. So one thing I learned while you were presenting is one thing is having the information in place. And you beautifully talk about the information cycle and drive an analogy, draw an analogy with water cycle. Now my question as a ordinary citizen is that here is an information in place and I need to be empowered with information. So, I mean, then only the information becomes, useful if I know how to use the information. What is your experience of empowering citizens about the information available? See, if there are, let's say there are some information available, but if I'm unaware of it. So what I feel in my own country, we are short of doing these awareness programs as much as we should do it, looking at the mass of population we have, because we have some wonderful programs, wonderful, I will say, tools as well. But unless and until I know how to use the tool, first of all, to know the tool that is available, then how to use the tool, I think how much weightage will you give to empowering citizen with the tool? I mean, there has to be a budget allocated for it. Just developing the tool, making the tool, and working on the tool by some experts is not going to help and bring a change. Because you made a very interesting line, and when you talked about hydroinformatics is all about change.
Yeah.
So, and the change is not only the technological change, but it is also the social and
Yeah.
behavioral change. Exactly, the behavioral change. So, what do you think? What can we do? Especially, you have been to India many times, and because at Wednesdays for Water, we have been focusing more on India and trying to look at how can we really handle this giant called India and handle its water crisis, because it's one of the worst hit country in the world. Um, uh, what can we really do? What more can we do to really empower citizens? How should we make people know that these tools are available? And also, as a follow-up question, I must say, how can we motivate youth to really build more of these tools to make more people available for using them? Over to you.
Yeah, I would say from the end result to the process, the
Mm.
fairness,
Mm.
the fairness, because the youth, for me, is I can work 24 hours without any income because I have
Mm.
my pension.
Mm.
And I'm overaged, so I don't need the clothing or more car
Yes.
or whatever. And I don't have children to educate. But if you think of the youth of age between 20 to 40, what happened is they have a lot of burden. They have the children and they have to educate, and they still need to build the house, and
Mm.
they still need to buy a car, etc., etc. So when I ask a young water professional program to join, these people cannot come unless we give them the decent honorarium. That is $300 per month. That is somehow they sacrifice, because if they go for the job, they get minimum 500 to 600, but they are
Mm.
happy with the $300 per month in order to learn. So
Mm.
that in itself is very good of them. But then when they come, they have this problem of they are not interested in technology, but only the social science,
Mm.
or more to the art, or more to the politics. So once they were learning the technology, the way of and digestion of that knowledge is
Mm.
always from the points of view of politicizing.
Yes.
Uh, who is responsible for it? Who is going to solve this problem? And we are the victim. So such kind of mental faculty, then I feel like, okay, I have to also add more on the spiritual transformation. The
Yes.
change begins with self. And if you want to change the world, you change yourself and
Yeah.
change the
It reminds
thoughts.
me of
So
Gandhi.
then, of course, not everybody like it, but
Mm.
some are okay. So then what is the real challenge is the philosophy, the materialism, and the people wanted to grow in terms of economic wealth. So you see, therefore, we have to do everything at the same time because Myanmar is very much behind. So we give them the knowledge, we give them the technology, but at the same time, we have to give them a break that you get the technology, you are far more ahead of other youth, but it is not to be proud of and to oppress them.
But it's more to be more supportive of others.
Yes, and they do after, it is an 11-month course, and first month, yes, they have the normal behavior, and after 3 months, they have more solidarity, and
Mm.
at the end of uh, the training, they
Mm.
even forget the teachers because they are so close to each other.
That's a
And
good sign. That's a
that
very
was
good
a
sign.
good sign.
Yeah.
And I used to tell them we have to do the job where
Mm.
we don't need anyone.
Yes.
So then
Self-learning is
going
only
back to this women and the children, if we want to help them, we need a little bit of everything. We need to do the handouts. We need to do the humanitarian supplies. We need to do the technical support like masonry, even carpentry, and digging the toilet. And in India, I learned something, dual pit toilet.
Yes.
Dual pit toilet is so good, so inexpensive, and self-reliance. Women can do it, you see? So such kind of thing, plus the encouragement. And we used to give them fund for each lady, and then they pool it and they do some business. So that kind of micro SMEs. But not everything is smooth. And if you start 10 projects, you get the winning is maybe barely 50%. It is because we need the spiritual transformation.
Yeah. So you raised an important point, because my next question was around the spiritual transformation. I recently compiled an essay when I was part of the Confucian Aristotle Symposium in Beijing and Chufu. And I was writing a piece on philosophy of water and looking at how all spiritual leaders, how even Confucian, Aristotle, Mencius for that matter, and even Gandhi to the latest time, I must say Gandhi, Tagore, and many more. And also looked at some religions, including Taoism, and Islam, Hinduism, and all, how they look at it. And I know religion, spirituality are different pillars of society to put the society in an order, in a social order. But it becomes so important at some point in time when we have all the technologies. I think technology wise, we are in the most advanced stage if we look historically, so that way I think we should be quite happy that we have advanced a lot. But have we equally advanced enough emotionally, intellectually, spiritually? No. And that's where when I was reading all these masters or gurus, as we call in India, I was feeling, to be honest, so small, as if, because we know a lot of things or we don't know many things, but we really don't hold on to the fundamental things which our gurus or our leaders of the past have really told us in a very simple way. For example, be like water. It's a very simple thing. If you be like water, you are more humble, you are more flexible, more adaptable, things like these things. And this is spiritual, religious, and I think this is common sense. It's physical, because I have 70% water. So why I'm raising this point was that writing that essay has been my most fulfilling essay so far in 30 years. I didn't realize when I started working on this project 2 years ago, but now when I finished that essay, I feel that why I didn't read about this 30 years ago or 20 years ago, why didn't that enlightenment come? Probably there was some sort of, looking for alternatives beyond science and technology. And that pushed me to look into spiritual texts and religious texts. So to ask you, how do you think hydroinformatics as a tool can be also used to spread the spiritual intellect, emotional intellect, and and scientific intellect, of course, which people are grasping very quickly. But can we put the emotional component, spiritual component using the same tool? And I want to get your insights, and probably that will be my last question also to you.
Yeah, actually, hydroinformatics empower the people. So it's only one word. And if you go to the other literatures with the other subjects, I will not say it openly here, but empowerment means liberation.
Absolutely.
Okay. Liberation does not mean only liberation from the oppression. Absolutely. Liberation from our own self. Yeah, because our possibilities are unlimited, and yes, our only limitation is between 2 ears.
Yes.
Hydroinformatics help us to understand that. It empower. And another thing is hydroinformatics, when it is web-based, the thing is that you can't cheat. You can't cheat because the
There's more
time is
transparency.
recorded.
Absolutely. More
Yeah. So
transparency.
then it helps the normal people who has, in our Buddhism, it is called hiri and ottappa, meaning shame on doing wrong thing and afraid of the doing wrong thing. It's not a mistake, huh? It is knowingly doing
Knowingly
wrong
doing
thing.
mistakes.
Yeah, yeah.
I
And
use
that
this for
one,
waterfront development in India. We are knowingly doing mistakes, doing
yeah,
waterfronts,
yeah, it is not
concretizing
a
the water
mistake.
bodies.
Mistake you can make every time and you learn from it. It is very
Mm.
fine. So the Buddhism said, one, you have to be ashamed of or shame on you. And number two is to be afraid of making wrong thing by knowingly. Then the knowledge really play a role. Hydroinformatics give the knowledge and understanding into an individual's brain and then step backward and let that person to behave. So then you go and count on the human beings, the nature of human being. Human beings are born to be good.
Yes.
They were
I
taught
mean,
to be
it's a
bad.
fundamental line, even Confucian. I was just, because I'm back from
Exactly.
there a week ago, he's still in my head. So we have
Yeah.
to start with that reference line that every human
Yeah.
being is good. Yeah.
Yeah, that is why I have 100% confidence that hydroinformatics can implement the new water resources management paradigm.
Mhm. Hmm. It's just now the matter of bringing the spiritual component and emotional component for me, which becomes a very crucial part now with having the array of science and technology. But I'm just tempted to ask one last little question because you talked about information sharing. Sorry, my throat was just dry. In this today's bombardment of information, we are also suffering from misinformation or disinformation.
Yeah.
How do we protect our vulnerable communities, especially youth and poor people who are getting carried away with a lot of misinformation? And I think at the backdrop, when we have humanly constructed disasters, it becomes all the more difficult. I can understand natural disasters. There are lesser chances of misinformation spread because there is always an emotional quotient is very high among everybody because everybody wants to help everybody. When we
Yeah.
have humanly constructed disaster like communal violence, like war, like displacement of poor people because some rich people want to do some things and so on and so forth, disinformation or misinformation plays a very crucial role.
Yeah.
So
And that is
we have
called
to work
lie.
on it. Yeah,
Yeah.
we have
And
to.
that is
That is
called
all
lie.
lie. So
L-I-E.
how do we integrate hydroinformatics in
So
our system? Yes. And no, we don't
this
see
is,
because you have a background. So the book will not be visible. But it was in the PowerPoint. The book was
yeah.
shown in the PowerPoint.
So
Yeah.
he said, our professor said,
Mm.
best way to tackle the lie is expose.
Yes.
See.
We
So
in
now
Hindi.
how hydroinformatics does it is the following.
Mm,
Of course, we cannot do to other areas. We have to confine ourselves in the water.
mm,
And
mm,
if we are doing the water management, let's put it, it is a lake or a river or
mm,
a portion of the river and
mm,
put all the information on the web and
mm,
then tell everybody that these are verified and
mm.
these are confirmed.
Yes.
And the
And government plays a
reliable
crucial role.
percentage is so and so. And the
Hmm.
error percentage, because not everything is
Yes,
perfect,
absolutely.
the error
And the
percentage
terms
is
and
so and
conditions.
so.
Hmm.
Yes. And appeal them to rely on this,
Hmm.
meaning that it is the reader's responsibility
Hmm.
to find the truth.
I think a very important point raised, but we do have to have an important info session, and I'm going to come back to you to help me find speakers when we talk about information and misinformation and disinformation. about water and how do we deal with it. I think we need a full session on that and talk about it. And with this, I take a one little word or a few words from your last round of talking. And I wish to really quote Rumi here, one of well-known philosopher poet. And what you just talked about hydroinformatics, I wish to put it through the spiritual line. And he said that we are a drop in the ocean, and in each drop there is an ocean by itself. So that's also about the human capacity which you were talking about. We have a lot of information. Now it's up to our wisdom, our sensitivity and sensibility. How do we make use of the wisdom? How do we use it? As well as how do we use for the purpose for which we are born, which is peace and prosperity. But defining peace and prosperity beyond what is politicized peace and prosperity. So with these words, I would like to call it off for the day. But if there is any burning question, any burning comment from anybody from the participant, I'm happy to take it. And I'm sure Ni-Ni is also very happy to take it as well.
See you later.
So, yeah. So thank you. I'm going to share my essay. I'm definitely going to share my essay with you, Jeff, and you will have to share your contact number with me to be able to share you the essay. I'm very proud of this work, because eventually I could do it. But I think with Ni-Ni, we have to really take this information further on how to bring the spiritual and emotional component into hydroinformatics. Jeff, do you want to add something here? Maybe that will be a good way to bring an end. Go ahead.
Thanks. Just quickly. Look, that was absolutely fantastic. That was so interesting. The pair of you, Mansi and Ni-Ni, make an amazing team. It was a wonderful discussion, and I just sent a note to Mansi saying that the issue of spirituality in water is so important, so crucial that we bring that back to the top. You know, we've been bogged down in the quest for more data and more information, but those things, they're not irrelevant, but they're not the end goal. The end goal is to develop our wisdom and our ability to apply that wisdom in a way that is enriching
yes,
us and communities. And we'd love to, publish some more on this in our journal, World Water Policy. That would be really interesting.
Wonderful. So I'm looking forward. So I have a scientific, at least window to publish the essay, which I just finished. I was so satisfied, to be honest. I thought that many of my questions were answered when I was digging into this for last 2 years, looking into spiritual path of water. And it made so simple to understand many things which we are trying to decode from, from science and technology, looking for answers. And end of the day, it's all very simple. And it's about how we deal with each other, how we deal with ourselves for that matter. The way mental unwell-being is on the rise. But Violeta, would you like to add something here? Yeah, go ahead.
Hey, hello. I'm really sorry I mixed up the time differences, but I thought it starts later, but it's okay. I caught the last part, which was a discussion on information, and I think this is really essential. And what I'm really missing, and I hope we will jointly continue to stress, is systemic view over what is going on with water. And just 2 examples. We are now all really almost obsessed with renewable energy.
Yes.
Building windmills means digging about 60 meters. 60 meters. Yeah, in order to stabilize the wind propellers. And in many cases, that means breaking through the earth layers where water is as well. Nobody is actually even talking about this. Hydrogen, only very small percentage we have white hydrogen on this planet Earth, which means there is no need to process it. But most of it, when we say hydrogen, we think water as a resource. And nobody is really paying any attention, at least officially, what happens with this water when it gets returned as a chemical water.
That's
And
the
if that is a
politician's
small,
problem.
if that is a small percentage, okay. But if we now, the whole world will be going after hydrogen, what will happen? What kind of effect will that have? What is really the chemical water that comes out? Does it have a property? Can it relearn? Because it's completely decomposed and then composed back. So I think there are some new issues that are evolving with modern technologies that we need to bring forward as soon as possible and put them into equation and add them to the governance and to the regulation aspects of water as well.
Yeah, I think yeah. Thank you so much, Violet and Jeff. I think we need a different session also on spirituality as well as what hydrogen is going to do with water. And we are going to go strong. Let me assure all our participants here as well as on YouTube that we are inching towards 300 sessions, but we are also strong at least until September. I know we are going, we don't make big plans, but I know we have speakers until September lined up. And we are constantly looking for speakers. So if you are interested to speak on this platform, Violetta came on Monday, so she is going to be invited on Wednesday because this Wednesday is mostly on scientific discussion where we talk about science and decoding it to simple science. So with this, may I call it off for the day. But before I close the session, I would also like to give a big thanks to Nini for her wonderful presentation and insights, and actually putting me into more questions about how can we make hydroinformatics more citizen-friendly or more empowered for each one of us, and importantly, bringing the spiritual component into it so that we can learn spirituality and emotions through hydroinformatics. For that, we will have more sessions, but this week, which is day after on Friday Water's Thesis Club, we have a wonderful session again on August 2nd at 5 p.m. IST on water governance regimes in Tamil Nadu, and we are going to look through the city of Madurai, wonderful city, and we have Ranjita Grace, a PhD scholar, going to give her presentation. Usually the Friday Water Thesis Club is like a jury where we actually ask some questions to our PhD scholar, and in a way we prepare her for her future endeavors. Next week, Monday, we are going to continue with our Monday Munching and Musing with Women for Water to acknowledge and appreciate their water endeavors. And on August 5th, we have a scholar and a grassroots practitioner, Sujana Dhar, from Kolkata, joining us and sharing her experience of water working. In the forthcoming Wednesday Water on August 7th, we have the Nature-Based Solution Series hosted by Gurujal, co-hosted by Gurujal, and we are discussing on the regulatory frameworks of nature-based solutions in India. And with this, and that's also at 5 p.m. IST, we have all our sessions of Monday, Wednesday, Friday at 5 p.m. IST. So do log in and do stay tuned to our social media platforms where you get all the updates. And also, please check our website where we have nearly 300 of our sessions which are lined up there, and you can read them because it's the online repository or education platform which we have tried to create for everyone as a step towards making water everybody's business. And as I mentioned, we strongly believe conversations as a way to conservation. Thank you so much, all of you. Please take care of yourself. And last but not the least, Nini, once again, thank you so much for taking out time from your busy schedule. Thanks a lot.
Thank you.
Thank you.